What is going on? How are you guys doing today? I don't know why I'm talking like this. All right, guys, what is going on? All right, so do you know what today is? Today's a big day. Today is January 31st. So that is it. 2018, the first month is done. We are 1/12 through 2018. And the big question is, are you actually moving the direction you wanted to move this year? I'm sure you set some big goals for your business or personally, things you wanted to do, but in particular, your business, right? You set big goals about wanting to leave your job or start that company or whatever it is. There's a direction you want to move in. And the first thing is, how much closer are you? We're at 12 through 2018. Isn't that crazy? So how much closer are you to it? And I want to talk to you. So first evaluate that, right? The reality is probably for most of you, you probably aren't as far as you wanted to be. There's a few of you who are crushing it. Congratulations. We'll give you a virtual fist bump. That wasn't me punching the screen. That was a fist bump. So awesome. I'm super happy that you're doing that. I can tell you personally, I am not where I wanted to be. I actually was looking at the books today, and well, not the books. That makes it sound very official. I have a spreadsheet, and I'm a big believer in tracking our numbers. Like, you absolutely have to track. Like, I've got a big old whiteboard there, and I'm all about tracking them. Right now it's blank, but there were a lot of numbers up there, and they were not that complicated. It was like, how much revenue, what was the target, and what do I need to do to go in towards the projection that I want for like next month and for the rest of the year. And yeah, it wasn't actually quite what I wanted. So that's what prompted this, because I started thinking about this, and I think this is huge, because the next thing is, all right, well, now we got to correct course, right? And one of the things you have to do, and I believe we all have to do this, you have to start creating the habit of winning and creating the winning mindset, okay? This is what boxing coaches do. This is what you're going to see, professional golfers do. Tiger Woods' dad did this with Tiger, right? He cultivated the habit of winning. So boxers, it's called building up a boxer, right? You have to build him up. That's why you have a guy who turns pro, he's 26-0. Or you get, Tiger Woods, his dad purposely sort of held him back, wanted him to create the habit of winning. Because when you win, it does a few things, but there's two big things it does. One, it creates momentum. It gets you into the habit of winning, and it creates like a winning instinct where you believe you're a winner. And there's a quote, and it's true, winners win. That's it. Like, they find a way to win. But what we end up doing is we end up actually sabotaging our success a lot of times. It especially happens at big events, right? We go to an event and they're just like, dream big and, reach for the stars, and you might land on a moon, or maybe it's the other way. Reach for the moon, you might land on the star, and, all this stuff. Really huge dreams, and take your goal and cross it out and double it. What's the biggest number you think you can do this year? All right, well, now double that number. And that's really cool to like get you excited and get you all hyped up. But when you leave that event, or when you leave that high, you're left with this big actual emptiness and like this, okay, what do I do now? And when you actually start to implement it, and the most you've ever made in your business, let's say revenue is $100,000, and now you've just taken $1 million as your goal, right? What's your goal for this year? $1 million in 2018. When all you've ever made is $100,000 in a year. And now you've crossed that out and you've doubled it. So now it's $2 million. It's like, okay, that's a lot, right? And you can be really pumped up about it. But when it actually starts getting to it, now you're a 12th through the year, right? And you're on track to do 100,000 again. So like, man, now I've got less time and a goal that seems so far out of reach. You know what starts happening? It actually starts sabotaging you. Now you start, actually, you're not developing a winning mindset and a winning mentality. You're actually starting to kind of get used to the habit of not hitting your targets and not moving forward. So you don't create any momentum at all, and there's no snowball effect. And what I want you to have you consider is there's actually a better way to do it. And instead of sabotaging our success, we can start creating more success, get small wins. I played professional golf for about 5 years. I was on the mini tours. It's like AAA baseball, basically. So really close to the pros. I tasted it for a while. But one of the things you find is that you want to build up your winningness, right? Like you want to build up that mindset. So you want to win little tournaments before you go try to compete to try to, qualify for the US Open or to try to qualify for a PGA Tour event, Monday qualifier, and where there's 100 guys competing for 4 spots, sometimes 2 spots, right? You don't want to do that right away. You actually want to start where you're winning local events and you start building up that self-esteem. So when you show up to that Monday qualifier where there's 100 guys for 2 spots, you've got a little swagger. Like you've been winning. You've got that momentum built up, and you want to do the same thing in your business. So I would have you say, if you've done $100,000 in revenue last year, figure out what is something that's just outside of reach, but not so far out of reach that it's like almost statistically impossible. So maybe it's 150,000. You know what plans you might have. Maybe you're releasing new products, you have new partnerships. So it's different for everyone. But I would say it's further from $1 million and probably closer to 200,000 or maybe even 250,000, maybe 500,000. It all depends for everyone. But the point is, make it realistic, but just out of reach, because that allows you now to chase something. Because you want that chase. Like the hunt is really the fun part, right? Once we actually hit our targets, it's kind of like boring, because then we're on to the next thing. So you want enough where you're hungry and you're ready to chase it. And what you'll find is a few things are going to happen. One, you're going to actually have that momentum built up, and you're going to be like, you're going to be excited. And you're hitting this target. You had set to have a 10% increase next month in revenue. You did your 10 this month, and you had set to make 11 next month, and man, you hit 11.5. You're like, whew, all right, I'm feeling pretty good. Now all of a sudden you're like creative, like juices are going, and you're thinking, you're like, oh, this is awesome. And then maybe you hit, you got that 10% mark again, and you cross that. And you know what ends up happening? Something really interesting starts happening. Like answers start coming to you, opportunities start coming to you, because you like create a different like energy around you, right? Like now you're excited to get up. I don't know about you, but like when I'm not hitting those like targets, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this again. Like I start feeling behind the ball before I even got started, and things could be really going well for me, but it's all that perspective. I set that target way too high. So the big thing here is being realistic can actually work to your advantage. And when I mean realistic, I'm not talking about what the world says is realistic, okay? Because I will tell you right now, what you believe you can do is much, much greater, or it should be at least. But the fact that you're an entrepreneur and you're doing this, you have way more faith in yourself than everyone else around you. So I'm not saying be realistic by their standards. I'm saying being realistic by your standards, which compared to everyone else out there is ludicrous. Trust me. The fact that you're even making your own, you're writing even your own check in this world is already ludicrous to about 90% of people out there. So that's all it is. I don't want you to sabotage your own success with dreams that are so big and so ridiculous because someone else has told you got to think real big thoughts to make it happen. I'd have you just try actually just stretching a little bit beyond your comfort zone and being strategic about how you're going to do it, and you'd be amazed at how many opportunities start opening up for you, and you actually start creating a snowball of momentum and energy and prosperity, and you actually start moving the thing forward. So hopefully that is something that makes sense and hits home, and if it does, leave me a comment. I love to read your guys' comments. Give me a little love. Always love to hear back from you guys. And if you think other people need to hear it, please hit the share button. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.